you may start to meet weird people.
Meet weird people.
Not in a bad way, but people that will really just challenge the way you think and the way you are and just be like, oh, okay, I never see the world that way.
I see.
Yeah, but sometimes you can really meet weird people. I mean, I'm not saying that you won't.
Just between us.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Just Between Us. I'm your host, Nat Ko.
And I'm Juliana Yao, and with us today we have Gabe,
who is a life coach and an astrologer. So this is part 2 of our astrology episode. But before we delve into it, just a disclaimer, everything discussed on Just Between Us is done in the name of entertainment. So please seek professional advice before making any life-altering decisions. So I don't know whether this is going to alter your life, Ju, but we're going to read her chart. I'm not going to read the chart. Gabe is going to read the chart. Yes. So earlier in the previous episode, we kind of ended it off with what the big 3 is. There's the sun, moon, and the rising.
Yeah.
So, Gabe, shall we just have a quick recap of what the big 3 is?
Okay, so sun is basically your identity. Moon is what makes you feel safe and familiar, and sort of like a child version of you. And rising is basically how you show up to the world and how you want to be seen.
Okay, random question that just popped up.
Yeah.
With the moon side, you said the child version of you.
Yes.
So does that involve like an attachment style, would you say? You know the 4 major attachment styles?
I think it would affect to some degree, but attachment, like attaching, like relationship, is a different thing. It's a different thing in astrology.
Today we're going to do a reading for Ju, and if you would like to go to Gabe for a reading, Gabe, where can everyone find you?
So I own a company called Third Perspective. I'm on Instagram at gabriele.sees, so it's GABRIELE.SEES. So that's me on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok at Gabriele Goh. So it's the same Gabriel with GOH. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to read Ju's chart today. I feel like I've said that 5 times,
Yeah,
but I'm so excited.
honestly, I feel like Nat is more excited about this than I am because I think I don't even know what's coming. Like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what this entails. I have never done this before. So what Gabe has asked me so far is when is my birth date and my birth time, of which I had to call my mom for because I don't know, right? Like, I had no idea.
She gave it to you immediately.
No, there was a little bit of hesitation. She was like, what? You're a fortune teller? Like, okay, my mom does not sound like that. Actually, honestly, she sounds quite nice. She's like, oh, are you a fortune teller? And I was like, no, but I'm with an astrologer. We're doing a podcast today. And she was a bit hesitant to give me a birth time.
Yeah.
But also, what I had to do was to put it into a software. So you can see Gabe is actually holding onto his laptop right now. There is a software, and I just had to key that in, and then this thing magically appeared, and I have no idea what that means. Okay, so the first things first, right? When the chart came out, you showed me this chart. I have no idea what it means. But what is this chart private? Like, should I take a photo now and then post it on like my social media?
Maybe you post it on your, okay, so most people are not astrologically trained, right? So they don't know what you're doing, right? But people who are skilled astrologers, when they look at your chart, they can decipher things about you. They can say, oh, you are this, right? So some people who are believers and they're a little bit like, oh, don't show too much of myself to the world, they will not do this.
As in like, so that people don't know your weaknesses in that sense,
in a way.
It? Yeah. And then also just now, because my mom was so like hesitant on giving me my birth time, right? She was like, I'm going to give you an estimate. Then I was like, no, give me a proper one so I can get a proper reading, right? What is the big deal about revealing your birth time?
I think in Chinese tradition, and maybe in other traditions, right? I mean, not the Western astrology side, but in Chinese tradition, I think the whole idea of like giving your 生辰八字, this is all like your basically your birth details of like the date, time, hour you're born, and then your name and all that. People can put a curse on you lah. But definitely I agree that birth data like this is pretty sensitive to people. So I generally I generally try to be very careful and not publicize it without a person's permission. So actually there are like a lot of people who are dating, who wants to like, get a sense of like what the other person is like, right? And sometimes they want to like come to me to ask for like, oh, can you see whether it's compatible or not?
Okay.
But I always like draw like a line and say, like this is like reading to someone's diary.
It's a bit private. It's kind of
And-
private.
So you would
problem, right?
prefer that like couples come together.
So usually what I do
rest.
for couple work, I'll do
Yeah.
like one person and then the other person and then together. Like both individuals must have sessions with me first so that they feel like I am, I am safe to work with. And let's say if it's and I've done work for like couples whose marriage, difficult,
Right.
right? If let's say like a person comes in with me to do the session with me, and then they just drag the husband or the wife to come, and that person has no prior contact with me, whatever I say, they will feel like they are rejecting me. They're gonna like and then the couple might like, you see, that's why you're like, right? It can feel like an attack for the other person, which is not very safe, right? And then that person will reject, and it's harder to work.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now that I'm looking at this chart, like just to put it out there, the public information is that I'm a Virgo. That one, you kind of guessed it. And
I know it.
And then immediately also like when he saw my birthday, like 5th of September, he was like, Virgo, no wonder you don't believe in astrology.
Yeah.
So it's like a very common thing.
Apparently, like
Yeah, because Virgo is generally the earth signs lah. Like except for Capricorn, the millennial Capricorns, they are a little bit more like into this. But generally, even Taurus is not like Virgo and Taurus. They're both very earth.
Oh,
It's just
that's
like
so you're a
Sign
special one. You're a
girlies.
special one.
no, because you have other. I've done a chart, so you know that you
Yes.
have other stuff that makes you like really excited about astrology, right?
Okay, so now that I'm looking at this chart,
Yes.
what am I looking at?
Okay, so this is how you read your chart. So when you're born, you are at the center.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the eastern horizon. This is the western horizon. Okay, the sun comes up here and the sun sets here.
Okay.
Right, you're born at this particular time,
Yeah.
which I will not say.
Yeah.
Right, so your sun is somewhere here. So we talk about rising sign, right? The sign that is rising for you is Sagittarius. So you're Sagittarius rising.
Sagittarius rising.
So, Gabe, with all the other planets in mind, right? So all the other planets like contribute to different parts of who we are, would you say?
Yeah, the different drivers. Right? So Mars is like how I assert my boundary, how I fight. Venus is how I relate, how I stand there, look pretty, and then people come to me. How I make connections, make relationships with people. Right? Venus also talks about taste and etc. Mercury is how I think, how I connect information. Moon sign is like I said, like how you feel familiar. And then there are some generational stuff as well. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, the further planets, they're all generational, which means that technically you are not the only one that has that. Like people around your peers in the same peer group should have the same planetary signature. Yeah, and that's why we can do things like generational astrology. Why the Gen Zs and the Gen Ys and the Boomers, how we are different. It's all the generational stuff.
Okay. So in terms of the generational things, is it things like what we believe in, what kind of things we fight for, the herd mentality of
Yeah.
like what things are?
Yeah, the ideals, what the generation is obsessed about, how the generation innovates, what is the standard of the generation, etc.
Okay. So actually, what I was curious about, because we can actually, based on this chart, Gabe can actually read based on different categories, right?
Yeah.
Is that how it say?
Area of life.
Okay, area of life,
Yeah.
yeah. So what I was a little bit more keen to find out about was like my general forecast and also personal development. Yeah.
Okay, general forecast. Oh, your chart very exciting.
This is a year thing? Like what is the validity of this?
I can give you the date. So I have a
Like you must-
validity. I love it.
I mean,
That's
Yeah.
fair, like a range,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah.
if I know I'm going to suffer, how long am I going to suffer? Right?
no, because like people read forecasts and then they always predict for the year ahead, right? So is this my like 2025
no, it's not
reading, that kind of thing?
There's no.
Actually, a great way to start your year, right?
It's,
Right.
It is.
It's not the year.
It
I mean, I
is.
can tell you some stuff.
Okay.
But the stuff that calls out to me,
Yeah.
it's not a year thing.
Okay,
It's more
okay.
like a 2 years-ish.
Okay, so
1.5 to
pretty
2 years.
short term-ish also.
Yeah, short term-ish.
Right, okay.
Yeah. To short term to long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's not like a yearly thing. It's not so the energies are not so clean. Like, it ends at 1st January. and
Yeah.
then
So
it's
it's
not-
something I can expect for
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah. So you're interested in personal development.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
How I don't know, I'm always looking to be like productive or how I can better myself. In what way can I improve? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Whether it's like, I don't know, communication. Is it
Yeah, so your chart, right, is very, your Sagittarius ninth house energy is very strong. So you are Sagittarius rising, like I mentioned. So Sagittarius rising, the data says that, it's all about growth, right? Being growth oriented, being a teacher, being seen as a guru, being seen as someone that has wisdom to impart to the world, right? So that is a signature, right? The other thing that you talk about is the whole like, where do I grow, right? Your ninth house is also very activated. So ninth house is all about the bigger picture, like politics,
That's why you work
law.
here.
Sorry, what?
That's why you work SPH.
Politics, law, publishing, the bigger picture, like philosophy as well. So these, so you have a lot of energies there. So actually, these things are fairly important to you, right? So when it comes to that, so actually there are some dimension of your higher learning that is being triggered. Right now, there is a trigger somewhere here that's hitting your Mercury, which is very much about getting you to think differently and communicate very differently. You notice that, and this has happened for a while already. This has happened since when?
Take out your diary.
How is he doing this? As in like, I don't even see, like...
Just
there are
data,
no,
it's
there are
just-
no, like dates there.
Yeah. So it's been happening since the mid of 2024. So the way you think, the way you communicate has been, there's a stroke of genius in a way. Like the way you speak to the world, the way you communicate is starting to get a little bit different and unconventional. I'm not sure whether this resonates with you, right? So this has been changing. So it's getting you to learn to do it in a way that is more, is simpler, more practical, more pragmatic, right? So you're looking for growth, right? So the other key thing, and this one will be, so actually the next, you ready?
Am I ready? Okay. Is
Ready?
it bad?
Okay.
Is it bad?
No, it's not bad, it's exciting.
Okay.
Okay, so the next, I would say,
But do you resonate with what was said?
I feel like based on work, there were some changes.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know if the timing truly coincides, but I'm like not managing myself anymore. I got a manager. Yeah. So I think the
that's
communication with my clients have been a little bit different, and I don't know if that is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because one of the changes is also in partnerships, right? So sometimes when you have a new manager coming in, when you use someone else, there's a new partnership that's involved, right? That's changing. So the other big changes so you're going through like what we call a Uranus cycle. A Uranus transit.
Okay.
Right. So you've been going through the Uranus transit quite a bit in the last few years.
What does that mean?
So Uranus is when things get a little bit experimental, a bit different, a bit exciting, a bit unpredictable, sudden changes, unconventional, right? So it's hitting a slew of planets here from Venus to Mercury to Jupiter. So Venus has to do with maybe love life, taste, relationship. Mercury is about the way you think. So that's going to change as well. There's going to be sudden changes. Jupiter is basically, for you, is your sense of truth, your sense of where you want to go. Like what's that big truth that you're looking for, right? So all these are going to change. Uranus will come up to this line over here in about mid-year. This is from August of 2025, but you'll start to feel it in July, right? Where something about relationships in general, not just romantic,
Okay.
gets unconventional, gets different, gets exciting.
Question. So when you say like relationships, like you're suggesting that like the relationships might change a little bit, get unconventional. So are you talking like maybe exploring new things?
Could be.
What are the...
But there are many types of relationships, right? It's basically the idea is that all kinds of relationships, the way you relate to the world, even your audience, will change. So it will get shaken up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So whenever so in the future, this is something for me to look forward to, right? But then again, there's the Virgo in me who's saying that just now you talked about something that was based back in 2024. Then would that not be a point where like now I start like looking for situations to meet that criteria?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you just figure out for yourself whether the information is useful for you, lor.
Right.
Right. If it's useful, if If it provokes a sense of new insights for yourself, then there's growth,
Okay.
right? But if it's like maybe I'm just mapping it for the sake of mapping it, then okay, then you don't have to take it.
But you are also not saying that you know specifically what it is
don't.
that I went through.
I don't.
So you are not a fortune teller.
No, yeah. So I'm not predicting. I mean, I get a sense that it's something to do with. So the data says that the way you think, the way you communicate has changed, or it's going through a shakeup, right? That's what the data is saying. Everything else is not data; it's interpretation.
I see.
Yeah. So how it manifests is entirely up to you. So I could have someone with exactly the same, well, maybe not exactly the same chart, but similar-ish position. Something else could have happened to them, but it could be in the same thematic vein. Does that mean? Does that resonate for you?
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a case by case basis, and everybody has different experiences, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything like that is truly striking?
So this
about
is
the
very
chart?
striking. There's this thing that is changing.
Okay.
Let me just toggle a new view for you, right? So that you understand what I'm talking
I
about.
mean, I don't know if I'll be able to understand even if you toggle like 3 other views, lah. Because it's something that I've never seen before. So like for our listeners who are listening right now, there is like a series of circles.
Yeah.
With
like
different
wheels
signs.
within wheels.
Yeah. So it's almost like a planet, right? And then there are like different signs all around the outer dimension. And then inside, in the middle core, there are like lines going across. But my lines are quite centered on like the left side. Yeah. Again, I have no idea what that means. But I guess there's activity in the area.
Yeah.
And Gabe is just helping me to like kind of...
So inside is
decipher
your
it.
chart,
Yeah.
right? Outside is the sky in July lah.
Okay.
Right? So how the sky is sort of like mapping onto your chart, right? So the thing that I'm talking about is this thing here, this Uranus, is coming up to the 7th house, which basically suggests that when it comes to relationship, there's going to be a shakeup in the way you relate to either in your personal relationships with people in general, or in the way you communicate and relate to an audience as well. So the 7th house basically talks about anything that is not you. Any kind of relationship that is between you and someone else, something else, an entity or something. So that is going to shake up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you may start to meet people. You may start to meet weird people.
Meet weird people.
Not in a bad way, but people that will really just challenge the way you think and the way you are, and just be like, oh, okay, I never see the world that way.
I see.
Yeah, but sometimes you can really meet weird people. I mean, I'm not saying that you won't.
So meeting people with very different perspectives compared to who Ju has met her entire life. And are those people going to like be people who like will pivot her life, would you say? Pivot her thinking?
I would say yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say yeah. I mean, you're already going through that already, okay? But you will start to see it happening from July onwards. That this whole like, wow, like the way, and maybe it's something to do with the world as well, because of how 2025 is. Like, if we look at a bigger picture of where the world is going, maybe there's something about that provokes the way you think as well, and therefore the people that you meet will start to change, right? So that will really change the way you see yourself. And because it's a Uranus is like revolution, right? It's rebellion, revolution. So you may meet people that is very rebellious, that sort of inspire you to be like, hey, this is something that I may want to be like.
Like, I thought like as a whole it sounded a bit bad and negative, but I think if it's to challenge some of what I believe and for growth, then maybe that's a good thing. I actually felt like you were very specific about it being in like August, July. I start feeling it in July.
Yeah.
Is there any other months this year that I need to look out for? Anything that is like particularly...
March.
March
March is very soon.
Yeah.
What's happening in March?
So because your Virgo is not that, yes. Yeah, so March, actually I would say February to April, quite exciting, like difficult, exciting, good, exciting. It's a bit of, there's a lot of layering of energy.
Okay.
Right? I mean, just now, I think the previous episode you talked about the retrograde, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So February to April is a period of Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde, and they're all hitting the same point.
Question, what is Venus retrograde and what is Mercury retrograde?
So Mercury retrograde is when things that are supposed to connect don't quite connect. When
no
things,
good.
Like miscommunication?
Yeah, miscommunication. Sometimes it could be like, I'm traveling on the train and then the train break down, or that I'm going to send an email and then I forgot to press send.
Oh,
Or like, you're supposed to go to this hotel, but then the information is wrong. Sometimes it's like I'm trying to get a contract going and then there's a lot of back and forth, cannot quite agree. So there's delay lah, basically.
so it really could be anything then.
It could be anything, yeah. But for you in particular, this one might be a home thing. Do you have children? You don't have children?
No.
Do you have
Thank
pets?
goodness. No.
Okay, so this one has to do with like either home or fifth house matter, which is very much about something that some kind of creativity, something about that, some kind of business creativity, some kind of personal project that would get a retrograde.
Meet some challenges in
like
February to
a
April.
Yeah. And then Venus retrograde is relationships. It's basically a period in which relationships gets reevaluated. But it's not just about relationship, it's also like my agreement with other people, whether people like me, people don't like me. So that is also something that you'll go through. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So February to April, but March would be quite intense. Yeah, March would be quite intense. But it's not just you, it's a lot of people.
I see.
Yeah, it's not just you. It's just a general stacking of energy of where the world is. Because March is also when eclipses happen. So this year the eclipse happened in March and
I see.
September.
Okay, so it's just stronger.
So everything just stacks up together lah, and it's all sort of going through the same zone.
Yeah.
So that one to look out for. Yeah.
I think like having this chart is like such a great, in that sense, I don't know how you call it. It's like I don't even want to call it a prediction, right? It's a reading of what you might want to look out for. And then again, how you apply it in your own life is up to...
It's open to interpretation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like there's no narrow down of like, on the 14th of March, you will encounter this at like 7 o'clock, that kind of thing.
No,
right?
not really. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. If you want me to give you dates, I'll give you dates lah. Like,
We really can go into dates.
yeah, I can go into dates. Yeah.
No,
so,
and I think I can appreciate. I mean, now we don't have time like for us to maybe after this podcast we will do
Yeah.
it. But like specifically on the podcast, we don't have time to like go deeper. But I feel like you said, tying in with your skills as a life coach, you would then use this information to help whoever is seeking, not say advice, but like
yeah, see where they want to go, lor. Yeah. I mean, so as a life coach, the coach. So coaching is not a advice giving thing. You know, like people like to think that I'm a coach, therefore I have a lot of advice. But actually, why a coach is powerful is that they're good at observing people. They're good at observing. When I say this, you suddenly frown a bit. Hey, what's that about? Right? Suddenly when you say this thing, suddenly you light up a bit. Your energy, you sit up. Right? What's that about? Right? So a coach is able to sort of pay attention to the person, right? Help them to figure out where
like
to
guide
go.
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why you're a third perspective, right?
Yes.
Because you
Oh!
offer perspective.
Yes.
Okay, I think we should shout out where people can look for you once again.
So I'm on Instagram at Gabriele, GABRIELE.SEES. And I'm on TikTok, Gabriele Goh, GABRIELEGOH. So these are the main channels. I do have a website, but the website is a bit old, so I'm gonna do some stuff this year to build it up.
Cool.
Is that in your chart?
It's in my company's chart.
That's nice.
yes.
Yeah. So if this podcast episode has piqued your interest into getting your astrology chart read, if you are curious about how you can kind of find your path forward, right?
Yeah.
With a little bit of guidance, Gabe is one to look out for.
Yeah, even as a life coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see you in the next episode. But in the meantime, do let us know what you think and do hit like and subscribe. We'll see you soon. Bye.